All right, Pangburn peeps, we are live. What up, what up? It's your main man, Trav. Gonna share this link. Let's get this conversation rolling. I'm going to be doing a reading of an article. I'm just going to share this live. I'm going to be doing a reading of an article by Heather McDonald from the Washington Journal. I believe it's from the Washington Journal. Oh, the Wall Street Journal. Just going to share this. I am live. All right. I'm live. ANCR, welcome, welcome. When you guys get into the room, tell me where you're tuning in from. I like to hear that from you guys. I am live. Okay, here we go. I'll share that. Do a quick thing on Insta, on the grams. Oh, I just drank a bunch of like flavored water. I might burp a bit in your guys' ear. What stupid thing am I going to do today? Oh, I'll just do the title of what this is. All right, Instagram. Today we are going to be talking about the myth of systemic police racism. That is the title of the live stream today. Please come and join us, youtube.com/Pangburn. I'd love to have you there because I love you. I love everyone. I love all of the creatures that roam this globe, this pale blue dot. So I'll see you there, youtube.com/Pangburn. Okay, I'll post that. Hashtag. Whoa, did it like block my video? 1 second here. I'm going to try and post this. Systemic police racism myth. I don't know if that's going to pass the blocks here. We'll see. It's giving like a black screen on it. But guys, I'm going to start off by reading this Wall Street Journal article that I thought was quite good by Heather McDonald. I think I've read stuff from her before. It was interesting. I'm going to share this to the Pangburn page. How are y'all doing, by the way? I'm really glad that you showed up. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day. Okay, we'll share that. And we should share it to debate group. Sharing a group. The debate group. Debate. We'll share it there. I'll be with you guys in just a second. This is an impromptu stream. I'll be here for a short time, not a long time today, guys. I got some shits I gotta do. One more share group. Let's share with the Trump audience. Let's share with the Trump audience. The Trump audience. Never really know what they're gonna do next. The Trump audience. Okay, there we go. There we go. Do I want to go live on Twitter? Nah. All right. Here we go. I'm going to start by reading this article, guys, and you guys can respond as I'm reading through this, whatever you guys want to do. Obviously, this is going to hit a lot more people after. Okay, what happened to my beautiful article? Did it get pulled by the Illuminati? No, it didn't. I need to go to Facebook, the book of the face. So, yeah, I was really impressed by this article, which I would love if it reloaded on my phone, or else this whole thing is meaningless. Great to see you guys. Say hello. Hit the like button on this stream, guys. We got 25 in the room. Hit the like button. Let's get it up to 25 likes, because I know you at least like having the conversations. Maybe you don't like me. Maybe you don't like my face, but you like the importance of having good faith conversations. So hit that like button. You know you wanna. Here we go. This is an article by, okay, wait, now it's giving me a, oh no, okay, good. This is an article by Heather McDonald at the Wall Street Journal. Okay, title, The Myth of Systemic Police Racism. And the kind of the headline here is, hold officers accountable who use excessive force, but there's no evidence of widespread racial bias. This is the thesis. All right. Here we go. George Floyd's death in Minneapolis has revived the Obama-era narrative that law enforcement is endemically racist. On Friday, Barack Obama tweeted that for millions of Black Americans being treated differently by the criminal justice system on account of race is, quote, tragically, painfully, maddeningly normal, end quote. Mr. Obama called on the police and the public to create a new normal, quote, in which bigotry no longer, quote, infects our institutions and our hearts, end quote. Joe Biden released a video the same day in which he asserted that all African Americans fear for their safety from bad police, and Black children must be instructed to tolerate police abuse just so they can, quote, make it home. I know a lot of African Americans who would speak differently to that. That echoed, by the way, that was my assertion. That echoed a claim Mr. Obama made after the ambush murder of 5 Dallas officers in July 2016. During their memorial service, the president said African American parents were right to fear that their children may be killed by police officers whenever they go outside. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz denounced the, quote, stain of fundamental institutional racism, quote, on law enforcement during a Friday press conference. He claimed Blacks were right to dismiss promises of police reform as empty verbiage. This charge of systemic police bias was wrong during the Obama years and remains so today, she goes on to say. However sickening the video of Floyd's arrest, it isn't representative of the 375 million annual contacts with police officers have with civilians. A solid body of evidence finds no structural bias in the criminal justice system with regard to arrests, prosecution, or sentencing. Crime and suspect behavior, not race, determine most police actions. This is so right. Crime and suspect behavior, not race, determine most police actions. So we should think about that. So the nature of the crime, the behavior. What is behavior linked to? That's a topic to get into. What are cultural behaviors linked to? Where do they come from? Make sure you guys hit the like button. There's 38 in the room. Determine most police actions. In 2019, police officers fatally shot 1,004 people, most of whom were armed or otherwise dangerous. African Americans were about a quarter of those killed by cops last year, 235, a ratio that has remained stable since 2015. That share of Black victims is less than what the Black crime rate would predict, since police shootings are a function of how often officers encounter armed and violent suspects. In 2018, the latest year of which such data have been published, African Americans made up 53% of known homicide offenders in the US and commit about 60% of robberies, though they are 13% of the population. The police fatally shot 9 unarmed Blacks and 19 unarmed whites in 2019. Okay? Despite what you're hearing, people being loud, you can fact check all this. The police fatally shot 9 unarmed blacks and 19 unarmed whites in 2019, according to the Washington Post database, down from 38 and 32, respectively, in 2015. The Post defines, quote, unarmed broadly to include such cases as a suspect in Newark, New Jersey, who had a loaded handgun in his car during a police chase. In 2018, there were 7,407 black homicide victims. Assuming a comparable number of victims last year, those 9 unarmed black victims of police shooting represent 0.1% of all African Americans killed in 2019. By contrast, a police officer is 18.5 times more likely to be killed by a black male than an unarmed black male is to be killed by a police officer. I have to read that again. By contrast, a police officer is 18.5 times more likely, 18.5 more times likely to be killed by a black male than an unarmed black male is to be killed by a police officer. Important. On Memorial Day weekend in Chicago alone, 10 African Americans were killed in drive-by shootings. That's on Memorial Day weekend alone. Such routine violence has continued. A 72-year-old Chicago man shot in the face on May 29th by a gunman who fired about a dozen shots into a residence. 2 19-year-old women on the south side shot to death as they sat in a parked car a few hours earlier. A 16-year-old boy fatally stabbed with his own knife that same day. This past weekend, by the way, this was written, I believe, 1 or 2 days ago. This past weekend, 80 Chicagoans were shot in drive-by shootings, 21 fatally. The victims overwhelmingly black. Police shootings are not the reason that blacks die of homicide at 8 times the rate of whites and Hispanics combined. Criminal violence is. The latest in a series of studies undercutting the claim of systemic police bias was published in August 2019 in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. The researchers found, I need to have a drink. The researchers found that the more frequently officers encountered violent suspects from any given racial group, the greater the chance that a member of the group will be fatally shot by a police officer. There is no significant evidence of anti-black disparity in the likelihood of being fatally shot by police, they concluded. This is done by the National Academy of Sciences, guys. This is all the data and information is there. You can Google it. A 2015 Justice Department analysis, okay, just 2015 Justice Department analysis of the Philadelphia Police Department found that white police officers were less likely than black or Hispanic officers to shoot unarmed black suspects. Let me read that again for the record. A 2015 Justice Department analysis of the Philadelphia Police Department found that white police officers were less likely than black or Hispanic officers to shoot unarmed black suspects. Research by Harvard economist Roland G. Fryer Jr. also found no evidence of racial discrimination in shootings. Any evidence to the contrary fails to take into account crime rates and civilian behavior before and during interactions with police. In other words, each individual interaction must be assessed on their own. They have to be. The false narrative of systematic police bias resulted in targeted killings of officers during the Obama presidency. The pattern may be repeating itself. Officers are being assaulted and shot at while they try to arrest gun suspects or respond to growing riots. Police precincts and courthouses have been destroyed with impunity, which will encourage more civilization-destroying violence. If the Ferguson effect of officers backing off law enforcement in minority neighborhoods is reborn as the Minneapolis effect, the thousands of law-abiding African Americans who depend on the police for basic safety will once again be victims. The Minneapolis officers who arrested George Floyd must be held accountable for their excessive use of force and callous indifference to his distress. I don't think, like, have you heard anyone disagree with that, honestly, that the Minneapolis officers who arrested George Floyd must be held accountable for their excessive use of force and callous indifference to his distress? Have you heard anyone disagree with that? Police training needs to double down on de-escalation tactics, but Floyd's death should not undermine the legitimacy of American law enforcement, without which we will continue on a path towards chaos. So basically, like I've always been saying, that's the end of the article, and I'm going to read her name again. Thanks again by Heather McDonald. I fully agree with essentially everything she has said here in this article. It's not about race, guys. It's about behavior, and there seems to be cultural differences in how to behave when dealing with officers. And there are major, and it's not when I say culture, it's not about race or color of skin, because people of different races can fall into different cultural norms and grow up in different cultural norms. It's not about race. And these people trying to make it about race are committing racism, and they don't even realize it. Like, they don't even realize, like, white people, have a conversation with yourself in the mirror. Like, have people who said this even looked at the data? Have they looked at the scientific data and studies that are available? Or are they just fucking reading the next Vox headline that comes out and being like, oh, this agrees with what I think about racism? And then they post that to their friends, and then it's this giant circle jerk of likes and loves and care symbols on Facebook. I don't care about how much you get off by the virtue you feel by sharing your blackout photo or your Black Lives Matter, whatever. I don't care how virtuous you feel by that. I care about what's true. And what the data shows is that there is not systematic racism in police. And if you're going to claim that it is, you have to demonstrate it. You can't get away from the rules of logic. You can't get away from the rules of evidence and building scientific models around situations. You just can't. As much as you want to cry and proclaim to the sky about, this is happening, I know it, I feel it, that doesn't make it true. It just doesn't. Let's get to some of your comments here. If you have a specific question for me, put at Pangburn before it so I don't miss it. This is going to be a quick live stream, guys. I had to read that article. It was such a good article, and my hat is off to, I think it was Heather McDonald who wrote it. Great article. And if you guys want to find the article, just go to Wall Street Journal, and you can find the links to the actual studies that are linked there. But again, guys, the onus is on the claim maker to demonstrate their claim. So if you're traveling through social media and someone says, the amount of racism that cops perform against Black people is unacceptable, and it's been going on for too long, challenge them. It's not racist to challenge untruths. Challenge them. Use this article. Ask them where exactly they disagree with the article. If they disagree with the data collection, have a conversation about the data. If they just disagree because of confirmation bias, call them out on it. We need more rational people having conversations about this. IE1XT4 says the article is paywalled. On my Samsung, it wasn't. I did hear some people say, I did hear some people say that it was paywalled if you try to access through your computer. Mike Polakowski says, I've asked a few times today, prove racism with any stat. So far, crickets. Yeah, because the thing is, guys, first of all, let's look at this crime. Let's look at this particular crime, the crime committed against George Floyd. Demonstrate that racism had anything to do with it. Demonstrate it. when things like this happen, the radical voices in society tend to reign supreme. And those radical voices bring along some of the kind of fringe of the radical who normally, wouldn't be so radicalized. But they bring them along, and then they start getting on the bandwagon. Then you start seeing mob mentality start type behavior in social media. It's astounding. If you guys want to check out my personal Facebook page, just go over to Facebook and look up just Travis Pangburn on Facebook. You'll find my personal page. I've made it public now. And send me a friend request. I believe I'm maxed out at 5,000 right now, but you can also follow me or send me a friend request. But look at some of the conversations that are going on. Look at the logical fallacies. Look at just the pure confirmation bias that happens when people get an idea in their mind that there is this racist white thing out there that's out to attack, and it's ingrained into white people. This idea alone is just pure racism. Aviation Enthusiast says, hi again. I wanted to talk about possibilities again at Pangburn. Possibilities as opposed to plausibilities. I think that's what you're talking about. Let's see. I'm just going to see if you guys have any more comments here. I really wanted to get this article read on the air so everyone can access it. I read it word for word. I threw in a few of my comments there, but I read it word for word if you can't access it. Yeah. Let's see. Tom, let's see if any of the early comments. I just wanted to say I voted for Trump, but after your Anon Central exposed him, now I know his reality. Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about there. Yad Adventure MT says, it's a beautiful day. Dab. Nice. Dal Cassian says, please do your intros like Mr. Rogers, shoes and coat chain. I think I should. I'll do it next time. I'll do the cardigan and everything. I don't think I own a cardigan, but I'll do a leather jacket. I'll do kind of you know what I'll do? I'll do like the corpse metal or death metal version of that. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. And then I'll like just remove my leather jacket and like spike glasses and things like that. But I really want to get this article out there, guys, and have you guys engage with it. Boris S. says 4.2 billion Asians in the world, 850 million blacks, total 5 billion, only 850. I don't know what you're responding to. Kyle Hopper says, how do you explain the prison disparity of blacks to whites? Well, look at each specific crime. If you're going to first, you have to start with that. If you're seeing crime, if you're looking at crime from a race perspective, and what you have to look at is to say, okay, this person got or was accused of this crime, they got found guilty of it. What did the process cheat them in any way? So you have to go through each individual case, because each individual case has its own complications and details that must be understood. There's a lot judges have to take into consideration when sentencing. So you have to look at that. So I've looked at that, and then you move to what are the reasons why we see more African American males in particular being incarcerated. Is there a cultural issue when it comes to machismo? Like I've talked to a lot of Hispanic people and a lot of my black friends about this, and I talk about this idea of like machismo growing up for males, like especially in growing up in places like Chicago for black males. It's like when you're growing up as a male, who do women want to be with? This drives a lot of male behavior. Who are women most attracted to? Are they most attracted to the academic black male, or are they more attracted to the gangbanger? Are they more attracted to the one who has claimed to beat guys up and commit violence against others, and that makes them powerful and macho? Or are they more attracted to the athletic achiever? So look at cultural Look at what's actually going on culturally. Have conversations with your Black friends who have grown up in these communities, and just have conversations with them and say, what was it like growing up? Like did you feel cultural pressure to like be like the tough gangbanger type, or did you feel cultural pressure to like be highly achievable in academics, or what was it like growing up? And then if you have friends that were actually driven to be violent or actually become incarcerated at some point, or have been arrested, ask them what kind of led them to criminal activity. Like, what were they arrested for? What led them down that path? And just have an honest conversation about that. Sometimes it will have to do with economic disparity, and they feel like they didn't have another opportunity. They just felt like, dealing drugs or committing violence for some reason, joining a gang was the only option for them. And then you talk to other people who grew up in the same area, and they say that's not true. It's just some of these males want to go into that because it's like the macho thing to do, right? And then Mike Pulowski says gangster rap. Yeah, art is not to blame here. Art is not to blame. I mean, if you're going to claim it is, then you have to demonstrate it. But a lot of people enjoy a lot of different forms of art. But yeah, have honest conversations with your friends in these communities. If you're primarily just hanging out in your Black community, try having conversation with some white people just about their general take on, like, it seems like what's happening is the people who think that they're fighting against racism, looking for it, pulling sheets back, looking in the closet, where can I find it? These people are creating more racism than has ever existed. I'm not saying that there's never any cases of racism. Racisms are going to come up in social societies with varying cultures and varying degrees of how people think about different cultures. I've in the relationships I've been in my life with different women, I've sampled a lot of different cultures, honestly, and I've noticed a lot of prejudice and racisms in all cultures, and it's like it seems to be kind of the general way our older generations think about things, and the younger generations much less, of course. But yeah, it's I want everyone to stop focusing on stop spending so many resources and intellectual real estate on where the issue has been demonstrated not to be. The evidence shows that there is not systematic police racism. That's what the evidence shows. If you think that there's different evidence that shows something else, fund another research into, and you're going to pull up stats and you're going to say, why is it that more Black males are incarcerated? This is a great question, an important question. This is an important question to talk about. Whenever you see, any kind of statistical anomaly or a statistical pendulum that really is leaning towards one side of whatever, I think for people to look at it as a race issue, a Black male race issue, is incorrect. They need to look at it as a male cultural issue within certain cultural circles that African American males find themselves in, and what is it that's going on there that drives towards becoming incarcerated. This is important things to look into for the future of cultures, right? We want to study where there could be issues within our cultures, and we want to correct them. If I was president, with some of these with some of these areas in the United States, like the South Side of Chicago, which I've walked through, which I went into pubs and stuff, and I was told by many people when I was in there, I was the only white guy in there, told that I was, probably going to get shot. And this is when I was doing my events in Chicago. But I just wanted to see like kind of what was going on. But I did definitely see and realize that the angst and the strong machismo needing to challenge a new face, and regardless of with which I think they thought it was funny that I was white, but need to challenge a new face in case they're stepping on our turf here or something, or as long as they realize who's in charge here. And that's what kind of the conversations were that I had. But when I was there, I was told by many males, it was like the females I came into contact with didn't really talk to me, but told by many males, like, man, you better get out of here. Like someone's gonna, pop you, man, just for being here. And they were really nice. They were just saying that this is a damn dangerous place. If I was president, I would be declaring state of emergency in those areas where people are feeling unsafe, and it's kind of leading them to need to like feel like they kind of need to be in with the right people, like things like that are going on. It's sad. But you can, as a president, you can declare states of emergency and go in and help and offer, and not just throw money at the problem. That's not it. Throwing money at the problem. It's throwing money at a problem doesn't necessarily pave the way for a future. It doesn't, and that's part of the problem I have with universal health care. It can help. It can really help, but it's not like a fix-all thing. Education and instilling belief in communities that there are different ways to go about raising children and having families, it's a good thing. But anyways, guys, that's the end of this stream today. I just wanted to get this out there, and I hope more conversation goes on in the comment section below. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Hit the like button on this stream before you guys head out. I really appreciate it. And yeah, it's tough times. And as always, let art and science inspire. Thanks, guys.